Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here with another important update on Tropical Storm Debby. But like I did yesterday, we are going to be also looking ahead at a very busy period coming and looking at some of the numbers that Colorado State University from Dr. Phillips Klocksbog released today, which is asking for a very concerning season. More on that in a little while. We will try to get to questions at the end of this stream, but I am on a tight time crunch, so I'm going to try to get as much information out with this stream, and then if there's time, we will get to questions. I'm hopefully going to have at least 5 or 10 minutes there available for questions towards the end of this stream to keeping these streams very organized. So as we know, we do have, again, Tropical Storm. This is Tropical Storm Debby still out there. It looks like the center might be just off the coast now of Georgia. That's what we're looking at right now. And it looks like somewhat of an eye-like future here. Kind of big in nature. Not really organized at all. There's no very explosive deep convection. But nevertheless, this is still a formidable tropical storm with winds of 40 miles an hour. And we are seeing some deep convection happening on the eastern side of the system. We'll see if this is able to intensify. Right now, the NHC does give it a chance to re-intensify before it makes another landfall over the Carolinas. This system essentially isn't going to be moving a whole lot this week, and it's going to be causing a lot of flood problems because there's a lot of weak steering currents. The system did this, then made landfall. Now it's over here. It's just moving very, very slow right now over Georgia. The Carolinas bringing lots and lots and lots of rainfall. We're going to be looking at Doppler radar here in a second. Oops, and looks like Radar Omega is not working on us. We're going to be looking at Doppler radar here briefly. And as we do take a look at it, we can see there are tornado watches out. But most importantly, let's take a look at the latest storm total precipitation actually down here in Charleston. And you can see Charleston did not get as much rain as what we forecasted just yet, but there will be more rain coming through the area over the next couple of days. So right now, 10 inches has already fallen in that area. Further south here in Edesino Beach, 14 to even 15 inches of rain has already accumulated with Tropical Storm Debby. So still a big rain producer here. And when we look at our 1 hour rainfall totals, there's barely any rain falling there right now. If we go to the north, there is some of these feeder bands, some of these banding futures that stay over one for about an hour. You can get about an inch or two of rainfall out of that. The rainfall is more kind of spread apart today. We're not seeing a whole lot of concentration of rainfall in one area. And we're not seeing like a huge intense banding future. So this is a very diffuse system, kind of broad in nature, and that's what we're seeing here. I mean, there's barely a whole lot of activity going on in the middle, even so this is just off the coast. But we are getting a lot of flood reports still coming in, water rescues, people trapped because there's just a lot of river flooding, small creek flooding. And some of these banding futures do still have some lightning with them. So if we play the radar through, you'll kind of see the motion here in general from the Charleston radar site there in South Carolina. So there is the center right about there. It looks like it is getting ready to move. Probably is now offshore. Yeah, it looks like the center may be now offshore at the moment. So this is back over open water. We'll see if this is able to re-strengthen on the other side. If it's able to kind of get regrouped, in other words, for strengthening to even occur. But right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen right at the moment, but that could change. But here's a look at the satellite imagery once again, showing you all what we have here with Tropical Storm Debby. Tropical Storm Debby is still expected to be moving into the northeast. Some of the models have corrected more on this general motion. So it looks like now the northeast will be getting quite a bit of rainfall and flood concerns throughout the next 24 to 36, maybe 48 hours. As we look at the latest European model here, this is the 850 millibar cyclonic vorticity forecast. And as we go forward here, we can see there is a system. So we see that moving offshore as of right now. That's what most of the models indicate. And that's what the Euro is showing. And it seems like that this is going to be able to re-intensify just a little bit more with pressures still here down to 990 millibars. Right now, the pressure coming offshore is about 1,000 millibars. So it is expected to tighten up a little bit more before it makes its final landfall if you're in the Carolinas and Georgia. And then this goes all the way into the northeast, bringing in a lot of heavy rainfall and gusty winds yet again. So you can see there the disturbance, a lot of the vorticity really stretched out. So probably tomorrow, let's see, tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow will probably be my last live stream on this system with the discussion, and then we'll just go back to video updates like we did before. Because again, there won't be much to really talk about once this is over land, and it just brings a lot of rainfall to these areas. When we take a look at the rainfall forecast here, we can see that the system, once it gets over the south or the western Atlantic area, so you can see there, a lot of the rainfall will be moving over the Carolinas, then over Virginia, and then it amplifies a little bit. Some of the orange and red colors here indicate lots of moderate to heavy rainfall, and then that moves offshore or moves over Canada by the weekend. So by Saturday, it's going to be a Canadian type storm, more kind of like a nor'easter, more of an extratropical system, and then really nothing left behind off of that. So yeah, this is good news. This is going to end. A lot of the impacts will be on the decrease here over the Carolinas within the next couple of days or so, but still will lead to a lot of flooding. Right now, actually, the system is going to bring a little bit of a break before it moves back on shore again, in other words. So that is what we're forecasting. What's up, TRG Tornado? How are you doing? Welcome to the stream at TRG. So again, a diffused system here, not very intensely compacted, which is good, but still bringing a lot of impacts. So here's a look at the latest NHC graphics on Tropical Storm Debby. Let me make sure I have the latest advisory. Winds are now at 40 miles an hour. This is now just off the coast. It does appear, yeah, it is just off the coast now. Maximum winds are 40 miles an hour, and it is moving to the east-northeast at 2 to 3 miles an hour. So this is essentially not moving at all. This is moving very slow, and this is going to be moving to the north over South Carolina and North Carolina by, say, Thursday into Friday. And then once it gets into the northeast, it is going to be a post-tropical and extratropical type system. So it's not going to really be like a deep tropical system like we're seeing right now, but it will remain that way all the way through the entire week, the work week, that is through Friday morning, before it does an extratropical transition over Pennsylvania. Still is going to bring a lot of rainfall, so just because we don't see technically a tropical storm designated over the northeast does not mean that this is to be ignored. There will still be a lot of flooding, strong wind problems as this moves up the northeast coast. And as of right now, 40-mile-an-hour winds. And just to also be aware, though, that this is not going to make landfall possibly until Thursday. So we have nearly a couple of days over the Atlantic here before it is able to make landfall. So looking at the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds, this is what they are predicting. Right now, there's still a non-zero chance of tropical storm force winds over downtown New York. If you are in Cape Cod over here, you are seeing a non-zero, a 5% chance, and then over Cape Hatteras, a 20 to 30% chance of tropical storm force winds at the moment. Most of the tropical storm force winds will hang around here in North Carolina and South Carolina because, again, the system is doing this and it's going to be moving onshore. It's not going to spend a whole lot of time. Well, it's going to spend 2 days, but really just barely over the waters. I really don't think this is going to strengthen much. I really don't think. Maybe 45 miles an hour at the most is what we are expecting to see. So maybe a 5 or so mile an hour increase with this. But nevertheless, this is still going to be a big problem to the Carolina coast and the eastern seaboard. We're looking at the potential for historic rainfall across eastern South Carolina through Friday and will likely result in areas of catastrophic flooding. Heavy rainfall will likely result in considerable flooding impacts from central to the upstate of South Carolina and western North Carolina, southwestern Virginia through portions of the mid-Atlantic states, western and northern New York State, and northern New England through Saturday. So we can see that thumbnail right here. We'll blow that up here in a little bit. Tropical storm conditions will spread northward along the southeastern U.S. coast from northeastern Georgia to North Carolina through Thursday. Tropical storm warnings and watches are in effect for portions of that area. So that's what we're seeing. A dangerous storm surge is possible along the coast of South Carolina and southeastern North Carolina from South Sanity River to Cape Fear. Residents in that area should follow any advice given by local officials. So that's what we're expecting here when we look at the next tab, showing you all those rainfall totals. Again, Wilmington, Raleigh, expecting to see 8 to 12 inches. Some areas here up to maybe 20 inches of rainfall. So you can see down here like Georgia, this is where the system basically is right now. Not much rain there expected. It's going to be mainly to the north of this system like Wilmington. You get 16 to close to 20 inches of rainfall. That is insane rainfall totals over that area. So Mark Sedeth, if you're watching this live stream, you definitely need to be weary about this. Definitely a lot of rainfall is expected up there. And of course, New York State is not on this map. I don't know why they zoomed it back in again. But rainfall, and it just did. So we just got a new update. We can see upstate New York, maybe 4 to maybe 6 inches of rainfall there is expected. So not as much rainfall as what models previously thought because of the fast moving nature of the system, but still going to bring in some impacts like flooding, that sort of thing. Maybe some gusty winds are also anticipated. And then down to the south here, of course, you're going to be seeing the most rain. And I don't know why maybe this is the latest version. This is the latest version, so never mind. So Wilmington now expecting to see another foot or so, maybe 16 inches. So looking at the flood risk map here, still expecting a high risk for heavy rainfall and flooding over the Carolinas like Wilmington, Charleston, Charlotte, Raleigh. Still expecting to see high risk for flooding. And then, of course, up here to the north, please take this seriously. There is a moderate risk for heavy rainfall also expected for a very populated area. So even so, this is going to be a fast mover up here. It is still going to bring a lot of rainfall to these communities. Storm surge forecast right now, looking at about 2 to 4 feet of storm surge in this area, barely 4 feet. I'm expecting about maybe 3 to maybe 4 feet in this yellow area. Storm surge may not be as bad as what we originally thought, but still expecting some of that storm surge to remain because of the onshore winds near tropical or attaining tropical storm force. So you're still expecting to see some of that storm surge there, up to about 3 to maybe 4 feet along the Carolina coast. South Sanity River, Cape Fear, Cape Lookout, expecting about 1 to 3 feet of storm surge. So now that we talked about Debby really quickly, again, for those that are watching, we have a very small audience in this live stream. So if you want to share this with your family and friends on social media, please consider doing so. Because the next part of this live stream is going to be very, very important. Now that we briefly talked about Tropical Storm Debby, Not a whole lot to talk about since this is not going to strengthen a whole lot more, maybe plus 5 miles an hour to the intensity, because this is going to be close enough to land. The broader circulation is not going to allow it to strengthen much more or re-strengthen. But now we really have to watch the deep tropics down here, because there is a lot of important information that we really need to talk about. I mean, this is pretty concerning, nevertheless, of what is anticipated by the second half of August. So looking at the latest European model, there is Debby again. A lot of the models here indicating that this is going to be a tropical depression once it moves onshore. So no worries there, other than, again, the flood threat that we just kind of talked about. Now we have another tropical wave that we're going to have to watch down here in the northern Windward Islands. We're not done yet after Debby, because the latest Euro here over the next 7 days does indicate that there is some chances here of tropical development, and then maybe another tropical wave thereafter. So when we go out to day 10, very far out into the future, we can see most of the models here, most of the ensembles do indicate that there is going to be a tropical storm that does try to develop. And while right now this is not expected to move into the United States, this could definitely shift rapidly from update to update. So please, again, do not take your focus off of these ensembles, because this could definitely shift southward. If you're in Puerto Rico, if you're in the Dominican Republic, you're going to want to keep an eye on the National Hurricane Center, because we could have another area highlighted. In fact, we'll actually look at that map here in just a second to see if they do have a highlighted area. And then, of course, maybe more activity eventually coming off of Africa later on beyond the 16th of August. And this is only the beginnings of that favorable period coming. Once we get into like the 20th, the 25th of August, it's going to get exceptionally busy, and there's other evidence to back that up. So for those people that live in the Windward Islands, also, whoa, my pen got really small. For those people that live in the Windward Islands, the Greater Antilles, and even Cuba, and maybe even Florida, perhaps, you want to keep an eye on the next few weeks, because there is evidence that to back that up, that it's going to get really busy. Sea surface temperatures are also really, really warm. Like we talked about in the Gulf of Mexico, exceptionally warm. Why does it keep on changing back there again? I don't know why. So we can see 31, 32, even 33 Celsius water. So we are in the upper 80s to lower 90s along the Louisiana coast. We chugged away some of the upper ocean heat content and sea surface temperature warmth because of Debby's track. So that is good. So some of these islands are right around 30 Celsius, but exceptionally warm still. This is not, it's cooler, but it is still more than warm enough to support intense hurricanes and tropical systems. Also, the northwestern portion of the Gulf has warmed up pretty dramatically, including the northwestern Caribbean. If we actually add another tab here, we're going to do this. Excuse me, I have a little congested nose today. So as we go over to, let's do this. Let's go over to the upper ocean heat content map. This is pretty alarming. The loop current over here in the Gulf and also the northwestern Gulf really having a lot of upper ocean heat content, and especially look at this in the deep tropics here of the Caribbean. We are seeing some of the highest upper ocean heat content on record. Some of these numbers here are off the charts. I mean, approaching 200 units over here in the northwestern Caribbean. So that is very concerning. When we get these tropical waves that come off, they move in this general motion or kind of like this. They're going to be approaching a lot of upper ocean heat content in the next, well, several days. You know, we are watching a tropical wave. If it forms over here and it moves this way, there's a lot of upper ocean heat content out ahead of this for it to where it can be able to strengthen. Now, a closer zoomed in view on a more detailed image. This is from the University of Miami, we can see again right along, these are shelf water temperatures, and even look at this, even the northeastern Gulf and the northern Gulf, very warm water temperatures, 90 to 92 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is more than warm enough to support intense hurricanes. That's what we've talked about over the last several live streams and videos, how these waters are really going to recover. And right now, the entire Gulf of Mexico is running warmer than average. There's no plot on here showing any cooler than normal water temperatures. And look at this, right off of New Orleans, running almost 3 degrees Celsius above average. That is pretty alarming, to say it all. Weatherman Plus, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? Welcome to the stream, my guy. How's everything? By the way, Weatherman Plus, I always like your commentary when you make your videos. I always like your intros. And I'm going to do it for you. How about that, you guys? Let's just kind of pause since we have a very, very big celebrity, one that has over 275,000 subscribers. So, good afternoon, everybody. It's Weatherman Plus. We got a lot to talk about with a tropical storm, maybe a hurricane coming. You know, I just like your commentary, you know. Of course, Weatherman Plus. So let's update this. And it did update. So, like I said, Weatherman Plus, very warm Gulf waters. If you even want to mention me in your next video, you can if you want. How I discussed about these water temperatures. I mean, look at this, 33 Celsius up there. That is low 90s, Weatherman Plus. I mean, low 90s. Put your foot in the Gulf and you'll probably feel like you're actually in a hot tub at a hotel, one of your more famous hotels, like Diamond Resorts or the Marriott, you know. So there's Debby. This is the latest update from the NHC. This is the 8 o'clock outlook. And so this area over here, there's not much confidence for this to develop. Maybe a 10% chance, because this is going to spend very little time. It's going to spend enough time over the waters here, but it's also moving fast, and it's going to get disrupted here over the Yucatan. So there is not a whole lot of model support. And when we go back and look at that, you can see only one member here showing a tropical storm. Most of these, in fact, do not indicate that there's even going to be any development. So very little on that system. We're going to wait from the National Hurricane Center if they do have an area out here to highlight. And it's from a tropical wave that will soon come off of Africa. And it's going to be moving in this general direction. It may even go a little further south. But I'll tell you, and even Weatherman Plus has talked about this, if anything gets into the Caribbean and it gets over here into the Gulf, it could become very problematic. Or even if it turns off and moves along the eastern seaboard, it could also become problematic. Even so, technically it's a fish storm, because a fish storm is when it doesn't make landfall. So if it does this, it avoids any land area and it goes along the coast like that, that's a fish storm. But yet it could bring a lot of impacts, you know. So just something to keep in mind. Even so, there's no landfall with any of these systems maybe coming up. It doesn't mean that there won't be... you know, it's more concerning than if it were just off the coast. So I wanted to show you all the Eastern Pacific, Fabio and Amelia. Boy, Weatherman Plus, did you see how active the Eastern Pacific was? We had 4 named storms. We had Carlotta, we had Daniel, now we have Amelia, and now we have Fabio. These two will compete against each other. One's going to become a hurricane and the other probably may not, because funny enough, this is going to do a little bit of a Fujiwara effect with these systems. So thank goodness we have yet to get a major hurricane in the Eastern Pacific. And well, the reason why we are not getting a major hurricane anytime soon is because of the background state. And I've told you this, folks, La Nina is trying to battle ground here, and it's preventing a very... We had a barrage of activity, but we didn't see 4 major hurricanes, right? We only saw 1 hurricane and the 3 others just tropical storms. Okay, Carlotta became a major, or not a major, became a hurricane. But there is evidence that things are going to change, and there's a lot of evidence to back that up. All right, there's a ton of evidence. All right, I showed this map yesterday. Weatherman Plus has shown this. Weather Nazario, Pat's Path Predictor. Who else could we name off? Other YouTubers have shown this map a lot, including Mark Sedeth at hurricanetrack.com, showing the favorability that is coming. All right, we've been talking about this, and also Weatherman Plus, I liked your commentary, how you, I says, we've seen this for 4 weeks, folks, and look at this. It's amazing, Weatherman Plus, how you can see things so far out in time, and you predicted Debby really well. I thought, man, this guy is like, gosh, he is predicting something that is 4 weeks away, and actually it happened. So good job. You could even be a weather model, actually. The Weatherman Plus model, how's that? Or you could be a climate model. So we have a lot of upward motion coming to the Atlantic, the Sahel region, East Africa. We will be looking at the model here in just a second, but look at all of this upward motion. Beyond the 14th, folks, beyond the 14th, things are going to go Willy Wonka crazy over here in Africa. Even the Indian Ocean, we're going to see a lot of upward motion. And when you have sinking over the Eastern Pacific, there's going to be triple trouble coming off of Africa. These tropical waves, not all will develop into tropical depressions or storms, but some of them could develop very, very quickly. All right, so this is showing us August 17th, the 19th, the 21st. By the way, historically speaking, the 21st is about the time when there's that typical rapid rocket jump in activity. We typically see that, but I think me and Weatherman Plus agree. I think it's going to be the 15th and the 17th when things really, really go crazy. We can see over here all that's blue. That's a lot of thunderstorm activity. We're going to be tracking these. You know it. You know what I mean when I say hyperactive activity is coming. So now let's go over to this, and then we will show you Dr. Philip Klocksbog that makes these tropical weather outlooks. Weatherman Plus probably showed it in his last video this morning. So when we take a look at the global tropics hazardous outlook, there is now a medium chance. A medium chance. I cannot believe this, folks. See it to believe it here. This is also another evidence that we are keeping an eye. Again, the 14th of August through the 20th for week 2. And then look at this, week 3 through the 27th, same areas, low. This is a low chance over here. That's because they're not sure where these systems are going to go. The steering patterns are complicated somewhat, but you can see there's a low to medium chance in both of their thumbnails here for a lot of tropical activity. And Weatherman Plus, golly word, this is going to be a very active period coming, very active. And when we look at the Sahel region over here, look at all of this green. All this green, that's a lot of tropical wave mayhem that's developing. Nothing over the Western Pacific because of that sinking air that we talked to you about, and the Eastern Pacific, a lot of sinking over here. So there's no concern at all for anything to develop. And in fact, there's some below average rainfall at first, and then it gets to normal, and then we have to watch what goes on with the Atlantic. All right, so that's a look at that. So now let's go and look. We'll look at our models after. Let me reposition here. So let's go over to Northern Africa. So this is very concerning. All right, for the people that are watching this, Weatherman Plus, hopefully, yep, you're still watching. That's great. Thank you so much, Weatherman Plus. I'm glad I'm doing a great job, buddy. Also, if you want to shout me out in your next video, you are more than happy to. Just make sure you put a link in your description to my YouTube channel if you do shout me out, all right? That would be appreciated. All right, as us as a weather team, not just Weatherman Plus, but Weather Nazario, Pat's Path Predictor, other people out there. All right, so My words are getting twisted up. Let me actually put this into full screen so you can see me, so you can see my eyes, and I can see you. Yeah, I'm seeing you too. All right, so this is a look at the latest forecast. This is the August update. Okay, this just came out right now, nearly a few hours ago. They are predicting still 23 named storms. This includes Alberto, Beryl, Chris, and Debby. But I really do not want you to focus on the number of storms that we're expecting. If we actually go to that post, okay, no, it's on here. It's actually on here below, but I will read the post out to you from Dr. Philip Klocksbog. Hurricanes. Okay, this number has not changed. Okay, this is pretty alarming. Hurricanes, 12 hurricanes. So this does not include the hurricanes that we've had already with Debby. So we have, actually, wait, maybe this does include Debby, but there's no star on it. So probably 11 more to go. Okay, so 11 more hurricanes to go. And this is a really eye-opener right here. This does not include Beryl, by the way. I'm quite for sure about that because I watched Mark Sedeth and he talked about this. We could be looking at 6 additional major hurricanes. Now, that number may not seem very high at all, but that is very high. So that includes Beryl. Beryl was our first major hurricane, and now we have 6 more to go. So we could end up with maybe as much as 7 major hurricanes before this season is over with. So even so, there's 23 named storms. It's not as active as 2020 or 2005, at least. But look at this. We have 12 hurricanes and 6 major hurricanes yet to go. And actually, if we bring up that post on Twitter, I could show you that over here. So let me go to Philip Klocksbog. So if we go to way down here. So if we read this this post right here, big shout out does go to Philip Klocksbog. You can go follow him on Twitter. And so he does, so he makes these forecasts. I need to release mine, by the way, really soon. And so they, with 23 named storms, which includes Alberto, Beryl, Chris, and Debby, okay, which is ongoing. 12 hurricanes, so we have about 11 more to go. That's what he said a month ago when he made the outlook. It was 12 hurricanes. So we still have the same amount of, so we could have 13 hurricanes, in other words, by the time the season is done. So we have 11 more hurricanes to go, perhaps maybe 12. And look at this number. All right, as I want to iterate with what Mark Sedeth also said, fear-mongering, whatever. Call me fear-mongering all you want. You need to be afraid of this. 6 major hurricanes, perhaps even 7 major hurricanes yet to come during the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. All right? Again, if you guys want to call me fear-mongering, panic, whatever, I do not care. This is a very concerning number. 6 to 7 major hurricanes. Very warm Atlantic continues while La Nina cool neutral conditions will persist or intensify. Okay, so in other words, we're expecting a hyperactive season and we know what's coming. And we got to be ready before it gets too busy, right? I'm sure you're ready to go with the season, Weatherman Plus, with the very hyperactive season coming. So when we take a look at the Atlantic here, let's bring our moisture plot up. This is from the latest Euro model, the 12Z output, and we're looking at the deep layer moisture plot. So brown colors indicate drier air. Moist air is in green and dark green colors. And so that's kind of where we look at the intertropical convergence zone is down here, roughly near 20 degrees north in latitude. A little bit further north than it should be by about a degree in latitude or so. So when we go forward, we can see these tropical waves are going to be coming off of Africa, and we can see that here in motion. There is one big tropical wave coming off of Africa. Actually, there's several coming off of Africa, But here's the bigger one that tries to get organized. Look at this right here. That's a nice looking tropical wave moving off of Africa. But that's on the Euro. Let's see what the GFS actually shows us too. Same old thing. Lots of these tropical waves coming off of Africa. A lot of moisture. And then we can see another one. Look at this one right here. This is a big, big tropical wave. Very strong wave there by the 21st or the 22nd of August. We can see this coming, folks. It's going to get rough before it gets better. And yeah, look at that. Look at the outflow on that. That really is a concern there on the latest GFS model. That's a really strong tropical wave, to say the least. And that is why we are really watching these to see what will end up happening. What will end up happening. All right, do you guys have any questions? Boy, not very much people watched this stream. Probably not a lot going on out there right now, but I promise you there is going to be a lot going on once we go into the heart of the hurricane season. Do you guys have any questions? Since there is only 28 people watching, probably not a lot of questions today in today's live stream. Went through that fairly quickly. But like what I told you, a really busy period is coming. And we know we've been ready for this. We have been ready. So. Oh, you had to go, Weatherman Plus. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so any questions? Any questions? I'm still expecting Debbie to bring flooding to Georgia, South Carolina. Yes, Joyce, Ashley. Expecting a lot of flooding to continue there. Not as bad as it was today and yesterday, but still expecting a lot of rainfall. Of course, Joyce, Ashley. David, I'm getting hammered. Yeah, you're in the Northeast, so yeah, you're gonna continue to get a lot of rainfall. And you're in Maryland, I believe. Yeah, you're in Maryland. So, actually, no, you're Pennsylvania. Sorry, no. Gosh, you're in Virginia or Maryland, one of those. The rain has been terrible in New York City. Yeah, it's raining there a lot. Actually, let's take a look at Doppler radar. Yeah, there is actually a lot of rain, and there will be more rain coming. There is a severe thunderstorm warning on this with all that rain that is falling up there in New York. So, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Because I'm ready. I'm ready to go for the hurricane season. Also, I'm going to try to get a winter forecast out tomorrow on my YouTube channel. We'll probably take a day off from the tropics, and I'm going to be uploading my winter forecast tomorrow afternoon, right around 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm going to try to get that out. I guess we have no questions. We have no questions. The first time in a while, we have not had any questions. Okay, going once, going twice, still no questions, still no questions. I'm going to wait for a couple more minutes. And then if there's still no questions, then I'll probably head off. This was a fairly short discussion, really. Again, not much to really just talk about other than what is going to be coming. So I'll probably include, we'll be talking more about that in my future tropical outlooks. We'll definitely be talking about it, not probably, we will, in my future videos in the next several days, because there is a lot of activity that is about to come off of Africa eventually. You're doing a good job explaining everything. Thank you, Gabby. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. If I'm doing a good job, Gabby, hit that subscribe button to get latest notifications and updates on the channel. All right. Going once, going twice. Still no questions. Still no questions. Look at icon. It's showing a Cat 1 in South Carolina. Oh, boy. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you're probably looking at the 12Z run. Yeah, you're probably referring to Debby then. Let's actually look at the latest hurricane models on that. There's still no, it's not going to become a hurricane. Come on. It's not going to become a hurricane at all. If we look at the other hurricane models, they're not showing much strengthening at all, including the HAVS A model, not indicating much in the way of strengthening either. So I am not too... There's not going to be a hurricane. Only one model shows it probably, or more than likely one model does. Actually, no models indicate it. Just a tropical storm. So I'm not too concerned about it. I am not concerned at all. You're very welcome, Bell. Anna. So, yeah, no questions. That's probably because everyone knows what's going to be expected with Debby. And then our eyes will have to really get... We are really going to have to watch this right here. Really strong tropical waves coming off of Africa. Especially this one towards the end of the forecast. That one looks really, 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 really active. And there's hardly any wind shear at all out here. Very little wind shear. Which indicates trouble is brewing. Trouble is coming. Bama Online, NHC has 60 miles an hour. Yes, that is correct. I would not be surprised if they lower that intensity forecast. We're just going to have to wait on what happens tonight. But I would not be surprised if they lower that down to about 55 or 50 miles an hour. All right, so we don't have any questions. Well, anyways, this is going to do it with the live stream. Just a short one today. Thank you all for tuning in to the live stream. And we will end up doing a video tomorrow on a winter forecast. That's going to be my goal, to upload on my 2024-25 winter forecast. A lot of people liked that last year, and so that's why I've decided to make another one, since a lot of you are interested in that. And then we will go back to the tropics on Thursday. That's my goal. We will be doing the tropics again. All right, but anyways, thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate all your time. Share, like, and subscribe, and I will be back with you more soon on the tropics.